Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Before we start, just mention that if there is an emergency, we leave through those fire exit doors there and muster on the far side of the car park. Move on then to item 1, receive members' apologies for absence.
Mr Mayor, we have apologies from Councillor Stephen Moyes, Councillor Westrop and then Borough Councillor Bullen.
Sorry, was that Borough Councillor Bullen?
Yes.
Yes, he did get you right, thanks.
Do we accept those apologies?
Yes.
Thank you.
Receive members' declaration of interest.
I'd like to declare an interest in item.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, Councillor Jordan.
Item 10, 12 and 18, please.
Is it on this one? Move on to item 3, receive the town clerk's report and the mayor's announcement.
So just to remind Council that we've got the Downham in Bloom judges coming down this Friday. So Councillor Damond and his committee will be hosting the judges. I have invited and he has accepted the leader of the Borough Council, Councillor Terry Parish, will be attending your full council meeting in September. Just a reminder, Council, that we don't have a meeting in August for full council, but other committee meetings will be going on, so you should be led by your clerk of your meetings there. And just to confirm that I've had confirmation from PKF Littlejohn that they're happy with the documents that are submitted at present. We haven't had the full external audit through because it's still open for public questions, but so far so good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Regarding my announcements, we attended the Dementia Coffee Morning at the Discovery Centre. We began our Mayor's charity for the East Anglia Ambulance Coffee Morning and raised £100. Thank you for all attending and those who helped. We were invited to the Marham Fun Day. I raised the rainbow flag for the community. I was invited to start the RBL 50-mile cycle ride and raise the flag for Armed Forces Day. The clerk and I met with the new leader of the Borough Council. I was invited to present the prizes at the horticultural show. And last Sunday we attended the Borough Mayor's Civic Service in Kingsley. Later this week I will attend the Anglia in Bloom Judging Day and reception. And next Saturday is our first quiz night in aid of the East Anglian Air Ambulance. This will take place in the Town Hall at 7:30. All are welcome. Move on then to item 4, public participation and written reports. County Councillor report and questions. Tony White.
I don't believe he's here, Mr. Mayor.
No.
Move on then to Borough Councillor's report and questions. Councillor Bullen.
Has given his apologies.
Councillor Osborne.
Okay, hello everyone, and thank you, Chair, for letting me speak. A few just sort of notices. We've had a lot of appointments, obviously, on the Borough Council, so I'm Vice Chair of the Corporate Performance Panel. Look forward to playing my role there. And there's also been appointments to a few boards. So I've been appointed to, some around here, like CWA, Downham Market Leisure Centre, Management Committee, and the Safe Neighbourhood Action Panel. So I look forward to playing a role in there. You might be aware, at Downham Market Library, the masonry has been falling off, or a threat of falling off, I think. So they've closed that. I've been in touch with the library, and they reckon they can reopen about Friday around 10 AM. So that's from NCC, who obviously run that library. Just some feedback on a question I had about pedestrian crossing from Councillor, was it Councillor Wiles or was it
Councillor Moyes.
Sorry, who else in there? But I will try and get in touch with him about that, and we can do that. I've also received some information from enforcement about Hill House, because there was a Section 215 order issued against that in February, and that is now concluded, but they say the landowner is talking to them and is talking with the conservation team, so we're hopeful that something will happen there. This is the boarded up place above Peacocks, for anyone who's not aware. That has been like that, I understand, for years. So we'll see what happens. I've also been made aware by Labour Party group meeting, I was told by some of our councillors, there is currently some money from the Borough Council for defibrillators, and we will have until September to apply for them. There's still some money there, so if anyone in the area thinks there are areas with need of a defibrillator, let me know or let another councillor know, and I'll try and work out, if that's possible to get any funding for that.
Councillor Osborne.
Yeah.
Council have had suggestions for one by the police station, if at all possible.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then just to sort of give a quick update on the overall situation. Obviously we've got our new administration, and the general trend is obviously a tough time in local government, as it has been for a long time. But at the moment, in sort of 3-4 years, the Borough Council is looking potentially at a £5 million budget gap. So there are some concerns about that, and a lot of that goes back to coalition government decisions to make us pay for all the drainage boards rather than them doing the funding as previously. But that's going to obviously affect some of the new administration decisions. They've already cut some things like the £250,000 that used to be discretionary leader. They're cancelling that, and we've got the upcoming pay award, which we'll see what happens there. But hopefully that will all go through smoothly. There is going to be looking at the council tax support scheme now, so potentially increase investment to help a small number of people who are struggling, potentially by raising that to 100%. Obviously that will be going through full discussion at various councils. And in Down Market itself, obviously we do have that upcoming. There is the ongoing investment in the toilets that is going to happen. But obviously we do need to bear in mind the situation at the Borough Council level over the next few years, and try and keep those, especially dispensers to Down Market residents down as much as possible. So obviously we'll be thinking about that when the upgrades are going ahead, and hopefully looking at options of how we can reduce that as much as possible. Just one final thing, if anyone from any groups, charities, is looking at needing some investment, we are going to have probably the councillor grant restarting or carrying on in the future, pending decision by council, but I think most people are quite supportive of it. But also I pledged during the election to give a quarter of my council allowance away to charity, so that I am still going to be doing that. So do let me know about that. So if charities groups are interested, that is something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Any questions?
Any questions for Councillor Osborne? Thank you, Councillor Osborne. Move on then to Councillor Ratcliffe. Sorry.
Good evening, councillors. Thank you, Chair. I have just come from the Borough Council's Environment and Communities panel meeting, where a report was presented about the Councillor Community Grant Scheme. It is recommended to run the scheme for another year, and funding is available, so I think it's very likely that will go ahead, but it does need to go to the Cabinet meeting first for approval, and then it may go, presumably goes to full council as well. But then we'll be able to let you know if our funds are available. So that would be, each borough councillor has a pot of £1,000, which we can allocate to groups which apply through the website, the Borough Council website. There's some criteria to meet. But usually, as long as it's for a community type event or wellbeing event, then we're very pleased to support. It has run for 2 years so far, and I've been able to approve the allocation, the full allocation each year. So hopefully that will go ahead again. On a slightly less positive note, also at the meeting, or after the meeting, I was approached because the parish councils and the town councils in the area are going to be contacted about a community energy scheme, which I think may be beneficial to the town or financially beneficial. I don't know the details yet, but the council officers, the staff, are still... they've only seen the bad publicity about this council that's happened over the last 2 years, and one of the councillors in particular worked hard to get this council a poor reputation. And so the officers were reluctant to approach this council. So I have reassured the person that spoke to me to ask them to send back the message that there is a change of culture now, and certainly since the elections, and a new team of people who are all working for the town. And I've encouraged them to to follow the normal channels with contacting the town council. I'm very pleased that Councillor Terry Parish I know you've already been in touch with him, and he's coming to the council meeting. He was my group leader when I was also on this council, and we were experiencing the problem. So he's seen that, he's been sort of aware of that side of things. But now hopefully we present a more positive outlook, and things can pick up. So, but I was surprised that there was still that was still hanging around, but hopefully we can move past that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Radcliffe? Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Tyler, I don't believe he's here. Please aren't present. Any public participation? No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll just make you aware that I was approached by one of the market traders with a question regarding having a children's ride on the town square on the Saturday and Sunday of the summer holidays. I have made contact with the individual that was given to me, but I haven't got any further details because they haven't provided the information that they suggested they would. So I will obviously follow that up if that comes through, and then come back to council on the matter.
Good. Yeah, we've done that, not necessarily at the market, but we've done it on the town square several times. We'll move on then to item 5. Receive a presentation from Housing Standards Officer, Energy Efficiency, Jacob Medlock.
Good evening, councillors. My name is Jacob Medlock, and I'm the Housing Standards Officer for Energy Efficiency at the Borough Council of Kings Lynn and West Norfolk. This presentation will detail the improvement schemes available, and also Rebecca's going to explain a bit about the Lily team as well within the council. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. As you can see from this graphic, there are a number of energy efficiency improvement schemes currently available for residents living within Kings Lynn and West Norfolk. Obviously, some have expired. However, the ones highlighted in green are currently live within the borough. So there's plenty to take advantage of at this moment in time. Next slide, please. So, as you can see from this data here, Downham Market has 695 E, F and G rated EPC dwellings. With the government's net zero targets, this needs addressing as soon as possible. All properties need to be made ideally C or minimal D above. As you can see, it's not just limited to Downham Market. Surrounding areas such as Watlington, Stoke Ferry and Sholdham also have a substantial number of EPCs rated E, F and G. Next slide, please. So, Eco4, you may have heard of it. It is the primary scheme or pot of funding that the government have available at the minute in which we can improve properties. It runs until 2026, so it can facilitate the implementation of wall insulation, loft insulation, lighting, heating improvements and various other improvements such as draft proofing and hot cylinder insulation. Next slide, please. So, As part of Eco4, there is a mechanism within it called EcoFlex. Now, this allows the Borough Council to issue declarations of eligibility to households that wouldn't normally qualify for Eco4 as a whole. So, as you can see here, there are 4 routes of eligibility within our statement of intent. Number 1 is income below £31,000 per annum. Households in receipt of certain benefits is another mechanism. An NHS professional or GP referral being the most popular route of referral that we're seeing at this moment in time, and also bespoke targeting, in which the Borough Council and a designated energy supplier can agree a declaration between them. Thank you. As you can see, Eco is already having a positive impact across the borough. For example, Jill Marcy in Hilgy was an old bungalow with limited insulation and poor central heating. Through Eco improvements, we have improved this dwelling from an F to a B, which is a substantial improvement, overshooting the initial potential EPC on the initial document. Also a property in Woolsoken as well, previously rated as an F, now as a B, massive improvement. And in addition to not being only made aware of the EPC improvements, we're also being invited to site to see the works take place. As you can see here, internal wall insulation, which hasn't been as prevalent within the borough over the last couple of years, is now being installed throughout the district. So, actually, this is a little bit inaccurate because we issued another one today, but in total, 25 declarations of eligibility have now been issued across West Norfolk. We have another 26 pending from the NHS. We're just waiting on the relevant documentation. In addition to Eco, the home upgrade grant is currently being delivered through Norfolk Warm Homes. Now, all properties sitting within income deciles 1 to 3 in the indices of multiple deprivation are automatically eligible for this scheme, which cuts out the need for financial checks and uncertainty amongst applicants. This scheme is well underway now, and 15 applications are currently being processed by the Norfolk Warm Homes team. As you can see here, 37 Cayley Street in Heacham, an old solid wall construction property with oil central heating. We've been able to obtain £33,990 to improve the energy efficiency of this dwelling. Next slide, please. Local authority delivery runs alongside HUG2. This is the 3rd wave of the funding, which has currently been extended until the end of September. As it stands at the minute, we've obtained £155,279.18 spent throughout the borough. As you can kind of see from the bottom graphic as well, that makes up a quarter of the funding distributed across the borough. This is an ongoing scheme, so it's all estimated at the moment, but we can expect another £140,000 to be added to that 155 as the months progress. It'd be worth noting that this scheme is available for the singular delivery of cavity wall insulation and loft insulation for households with an average income below £31,000 per annum. Next slide, please. GBIS, or the Great British Insulation Scheme, has just been announced. It was formerly known as Eco Plus, and all dwellings sitting within council tax bands A to D are automatically going to be eligible for these improvements for singular energy efficiency improvements. Once again, loft insulation, cavity wall insulation. There's a little bit uncertain how things are going to work on this scheme at the moment, so further updates will be provided in due course. Next slide, please. Connected for Warmth runs on a similar premise to the Great British Insulation Scheme. Properties sitting within council tax bands A to D are automatically eligible for it. However, due to our impartial stance as a local authority and this scheme having a designated contractor and Agility Eco working on behalf of the scheme, we cannot recommend this scheme ahead of HUG, GBIS and Eco. So this will be used as a last possible resort in which we can refer people to ensure they're getting the improvements that they require. Next slide, please. The boiler upgrade scheme, it's clues in the name really. It improves the heating systems of dwellings, replacing gas, oil and LPG heating systems with energy efficient air source and ground source heat pumps. As long as your property has an EPC of D or below and you've got a fossil fuel heating system in place, you're eligible for the bus scheme. Next slide, please. Social housing decarb. Now, we don't have any direct involvement with this. However, Freebridge Community Housing, along with Flagship and Broadland Housing Group, are working as a consortia headed by E.ON to deliver energy efficiency improvements amongst their housing stock. Freebridge's plan is to rip out 100 energy inefficient electric heaters, such as Ducasa heaters and old storage heaters. and replace them with air source heat pumps. The Borough Council will be meeting regularly with the consortia to ensure they're adhering to the latest PAS 2035 and Trustmark regulations to ensure that people are not being left in a bad situation following the install. Next slide, please. So, in summary, due to the various qualification routes available, very few households are going to miss out on home improvement opportunities. The Borough Council of Kings Lynn and West Norfolk is displaying a clear commitment to improve the energy efficiency of dwellings throughout the borough, and domestic energy updates are currently being issued on a monthly basis. If anybody would like to be included on these updates moving forwards, please feel free to drop me an email and I will add you to the mailing list. Next slide. Also as well, fuel poverty is something that Housing Standards take seriously alongside grant improvement. Beat the Bills is a scheme, or I say scheme, that's the wrong word. Beat the Bills is a programme in which we've been running across the borough since the end of April. It provides cost of living support and energy efficiency advice to local residents. The programme only has 4 dates remaining on the schedule. We're in Sholdham on Friday the 21st of July, South Creek on Friday the 11th of August, we're at St Michael's Academy in Kings Lynn on Saturday the 12th of August, and also we're over at Grimston on Friday the 25th of August. So please feel free to pop down. Next slide. Thinking Fuel is Community Action Norfolk's collective oil buying scheme, in which competitive oil rates are provided to residents living within Norfolk. The scheme was driven by the Borough Council late in 2022, which now sees 612 households having signed up to the scheme across West Norfolk. Housing Standards will once again be promoting this scheme in the autumn months as people start looking at oil prices. Next slide. Not only are we providing support to those properties that have oil heating in situ, we're also providing those that have gas in place. So combi boilers, properties with combi boilers in place can register for the Money Saving Boiler Challenge, in which they're encouraged to lower the flow temperature of their combi system to 60 degrees to lower carbon emissions and also reduce their heating bills in due course. So we're going to be promoting this scheme once again through Freebridge Community Housing and Nesta, who implemented this scheme across the United Kingdom. Next slide. I'm now going to hand you over to Rebecca, who's going to tell you about the Lily scheme.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Bensley-Mills. I'm the Lily Coordinator at Kings Lynn Borough Council. Next slide, please. As Jacob mentioned, we've been working together on the Beat the Bills programme and a couple of other programmes. We're looking at how we can support our residents with the current cost of living crisis and other issues that they might have. So we've got 6 schemes at the moment. Our Loneliness and Social Isolation programme is commissioned by Norfolk County Council. We support anyone over the age of 18 with loneliness and social isolation. We've got our community directory, which is a website, the Household Support Fund, our community energy saving measures, Homes to Ukraine, and Food for Thought. Next slide, please. So loneliness and social isolation, as I mentioned, we can support anyone over the age of 18 who is feeling lonely and socially isolated. We generally help people to kind of meet new people, find volunteering activities, rekindle relationships that maybe have broken down, increase people's confidence, get online, and kind of access the wider community. Next slide, please. Our community directory has just been relaunched, so we have a website which covers the whole of West Norfolk. There's over 3,000 listings on our website, covering everything from things to do to money advice. The website's very easy to use, and I'll be happy to show anyone how to use the website at another date if you want any explanations. The Household Support Fund has been running, we're now in the 4th scheme of the Household Support Scheme. It's money from central government to help families who are in financial hardship. We can use the money to kind of buy food for people, pay essential bills, including water bills, broadband, and energy bills. We also used it for transport, white goods. We also have bought like baby products for people, so pushchairs, etc. So anything that's deemed as a necessity. People can't apply at the moment themselves. They do need a third-party referral. However, we would take referrals from councillors. So if you did have someone who you was aware of who was in need, you could make a referral for them. Next slide, please. We've also got our energy saving measures scheme at the moment. So we have got some funding, again, through central government to help people to access 4 items which are through the Energy Saving Trust. So low energy light bulbs, draft proof tape, hot water tank covers and radiator reflectors. So they're all things that people can easily install themselves. We can provide them for people who are on low incomes. It's not means tested. So if someone says they're on a low income, we just take their word for it. And we can install them for people who can't install them themselves. So if we've got elderly people in the community or people with disabilities who don't have anyone else to help them, we can go out and do that for them. Next slide, please. Homes for Ukraine. So since the war in Ukraine broke out, we've been supporting the Ukrainians in West Norfolk through the Lily team and the Hanseatic Union. We've got quite a lot of Ukrainians in the Downer Market area, and they're all doing really well, which is really nice to kind of report. Next slide, please. And Food for Thought. So we have been running Food for Thought in Kings Lynn for 4 blocks of 12 now. We've just finished our 4th block and it's been really successful. We've been helping people learn how to cook healthy and nutritious food on a budget. We've been working with the College of West Anglia. And I'm really pleased to announce that we've just been to Downer Market Maternity Church today. And we're looking at running a scheme in Downer Market in the autumn. So it's breaking news. It's free to attend, it's family friendly, we run tasting sessions, money saving tips, and like I say, we'll have some dates out soon to be launching it in Downham. So that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. Any questions? Yes.
Can you tell me where someone would go to get an estimate of their insulation levels as they are existing at the time?
Just go over to you.
So that would be determined by a domestic energy assessor. Now there is a government portal through the .gov website in which people can type in their postcode and find their nearest DEA. So they will determine the insulation level and then that will be reflected upon the EPC rating as well.
So you're not doing it through the borough?
The borough does not facilitate domestic energy assessments at this time, no.
Sorry, you sell insulation, but you don't test it to see if you need it?
No, we're not selling it. It's government funding. However, it will be tested by... So prior to the works being carried out, a domestic energy assessor or retrofit assessor will head out whilst the survey is taking place by one of our fully vetted and registered contractors. They will then undertake the energy assessment, but it won't be the Borough Council, no.
Thank you.
No problem.
A lot of the stuff you've talked about to get assessed and to apply for is online. How do the elderly who aren't as IT savvy, or many of them are, have access to these sorts of things?
Well, we're currently exploring options at this time. So we're looking to work with a lot of parish councils. We're going to be conducting direct mail outs as well to properties that we know for a fact are energy inefficient through their EPC rating. And yeah, it's going to be a more community engagement based approach moving forwards in conjunction with the online approach as well.
Okay, thank you.
Could I just have a follow-up to Councillor Damon?
Of course.
So you're saying that if they had an assessor come out, they got to pay for that?
Nope, it's fully funded. It's included through the cost of the works.
Okay.
So if someone was, for example, to apply through LAD3, one of the fully vetted contractors working on LAD3, for example, is Aaron Insulation. They would have their own domestic energy assessor and they would then conduct the energy assessment, all fully covered as through the grant. So, yeah.
Are you providing a leaf dropping system for the pensioners and people who don't have emails and stuff?
Yes, leaflet drops will be taking place as well. So Beat the Bills, for example, our community engagement events, leaflets will be there. We will also be conducting, as I say, more community engagement in conjunction with the parishes, through which will facilitate the dropping of leaflets at various properties.
Thank you.
Can I ask, you said that there are various qualification routes available, so few people will miss out. Could you give me an idea of what percentage of households are eligible for any of the grants?
I would say now 90% of properties are going to be eligible throughout the borough through council tax qualification, income qualification and NHS referrals as well. Very, very few households are going to miss out on fully funded improvements. Yeah.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, of course.
Some of it's means tested on the income of below 31,000 and certain benefits, but considering the cost of living crisis, people on an average wage, which is 34k and above, are still struggling to live. Is there anything put in place to consider that at all?
That was the thinking behind the Great British Insulation Scheme. So once again, there's going to be a flexible qualifying route or eligibility mechanism through that, in which council tax bands properties A to D can qualify, and the income will be taken into consideration for those that are, as you say, like a few grand more than that a year.
How would it be flexible? Like, just break it down for me if you can.
It's hard to say at this time because the final guidance on the Great British Insulation Scheme hasn't been publicised, but it'll operate on a similar parameter to EcoFlex. So there'll be mechanisms like Route 1 on EcoFlex, for example, is income under 31,000. However, on GBIS, that'll probably be increased a little bit more. I know it's a bit of a rubbish answer to give at this time, but we just don't have the definitives.
No, it's fine. Thank you. I'm glad it's been considered. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Jacob, could I ask that you place myself on the mailing list and then I can keep councillors abreast of what you're doing?
Yeah, of course, no problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to add, I have some leaflets, some service leaflets here as well that I'll
That'd be brilliant.
if anyone wants anything.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you for that. We'll move on then to receive councillors' questions.
Mr Mayor, I was at the station today, as I mentioned to you earlier, and they have a campaign to write to the Transport Consultative Committee regarding the closure of ticket offices. Now, I know it's not on the agenda. However, the consultation finishes in 8 days. Now, all of us can write individually and say what we feel, but I wonder if there is any mechanism by which we could gauge the opinion of the councillors, and within that 8 days, if it's we are of the same opinion, to write to the consultative committee.
Is anybody against me writing to say that we're against the closure of Downham Market's ticket station?
I think that's pretty unanimous, so we'll do that.
I don't think I'd be taken to court for writing that letter, so I'm happy to write that, Councillor Perkin.
I'll sign it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Item 7 is not on the agenda.
Yep, no, it is.
No?
Yeah. So it's that, it's just not the extraordinary.
Oh, sorry. Item 7, to approve the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 20th of June 2023. Do I have a proposal for that?
Thank you, Councillor Damon.
Seconder?
Councillor Lane?
All those in favour?
All, thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Clerk?
Sorry.
I'm against, I wasn't here.
Oh, you're against?
You're
Or
against.
sorry, abstain.
Okay, sorry, I missed your
I
hand.
wasn't here.
Fine, thank you. I'm sorry about the confusion in the meeting. On the minutes, it's got the extraordinary council, which is not. Move on to item 8, to accept the minutes from the following committees. Downham in Bloom Committee, 26th of June.
I propose that the full council accepts the minutes of the Downham in Bloom Committee meeting on the 26th of June 2023.
A seconder for that?
Councillor Lane?
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Move on then to Property Committee of the 25th of May, 15th of June and 29th of June. Got a proposal for that?
That's me. I'd like to... Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd like to ask full council to accept the minutes of the Property Committee of the 25th of May, 15th of June and the 29th of June 2023, please.
Seconder for that?
Councillor Lewis?
All those in favour?
Sorry, it's a funny angle. Everybody, yeah? Thank you.
Can I ask the councillors to speak up? I know you've got microphones in front of you, but they don't operate in the hall.
No.
So when you speak, can you speak up, please? The Community Development Committee.
I'd like to propose that full council accept the minutes for the Community Development Committee, 6th of June 2023.
Got a seconder?
Councillor Levers?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
Human Resources Committee.
I'd like to propose that the full council accept the minutes of the Human Resources Committee, 20th of June 2023.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Buxton?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
Planning Committee.
I request that the full council accept the planning committee minutes for the 31st of May 2023, please.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Burr?
All those in favour?
Thank you all.
Governance Committee.
I propose that the minutes of the Governance Committee meetings held on the 20th of June and the 4th of July 2023 be adopted by full council.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Brewer?
All those in favour?
Thank you all.
Good. Move on then to item 9, to adopt the recommendations from the Governance Committee.
Councillor Ingleby is going to do it.
Sorry?
Councillor Ingleby is going to do it.
Thank you.
Councillor Ingleby.
Thank you. For the information of all councillors and the public, the members of governance have been meeting on a fortnightly basis to review, update and introduce policies in conjunction with the town clerk and deputy clerk to recommend to full council. The next meeting is in early September and there are currently a further 7 policies to be reviewed. So moving on to agenda item 9.1, I propose that the current abusive, persistent or vexatious complaints policy with the amendments as published to you already is adopted by full council.
That's a proposal, is it?
That's my proposal.
A seconder for that.
Councillor Perkin?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
Good.
9.2, I propose that the General Data Protection Regulations policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder.
Councillor Brewer?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
9.3, I propose that the bullying and harassment policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder.
Councillor Wiles?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
9.4, I propose that the media policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Buxton?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
9.5, I propose that the staff training and development policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Marseille?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
9.6, I propose that the document retention policy is adopted by full council. This is a new policy.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Torvik?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
9.7, I propose that the privacy policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Wiles?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
9.8, I propose that the special bereavement compassionate leave policy is adopted by full council. This is again a new policy.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Perkin?
All those in favour?
All thank you.
9.9, I propose that the barbecue open fires policy is adopted by full council. Again, this is a new policy.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Wiles?
All those in favour?
Before moving on to the...
Just bear with me a second.
Sorry,
Councillor
beg
Diamond? You're against. Just one against, yeah? Lovely, thank you.
Just before moving on, the governance also requested considering the placement of a sign at the JCC advising of the prohibition. However, the committee does not hold a current budget, so this may have to be deferred until the next financial year. In the interim period, a copy of this policy will be given to all hirers at the JCC with immediate effect. Moving on, 9.10, I propose that the cash handling policy is adopted by full council, and again, this is a new policy.
Seconder for that.
Councillor Brewer?
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Conclude.
Sorry,
Any
no,
against?
sorry.
Any against?
Councillor Damon? You against, thank you.
Sorry, I haven't read it.
Thank you.
Move on then to item 10, repayment of bills.
I just want to quote number 233. Is it a duplicate? Please.
No, it's where we've been charged for multiple different courses that the new administrator is on, and they've broken it down so it's gone into three different lines on the accounts.
Councillor Davis?
I haven't got the numbers with me now. There's quite a few entries that you put in this exactly for the same date, for the same group, like Downham Theatre goers, and the same amount. Like 25th of May is the date, I remember, but not the number.
On payments?
4 months in, there's 4 entries on the 25th of May for Downham Theatre goers. That's just an example.
For going out in payments?
Downham,
Yeah, I don't remember making any payments to Downham Theatre goers.
They're paying in.
that was them paying us.
Right, so that'll be in the receipts list. This is just
Sorry.
bills for payment.
Sorry. Okay.
With that?
I'll propose the...
Thank you, Councillor
Proposal for
Lane.
that?
Yeah, Councillor Lane's proposed it.
Seconder?
Councillor Inklevire.
All those in favour?
Councillor Jordan can't vote. Everybody else is in favour, thank you.
Item 11, to receive finance update.
Right, so I'm just quickly bringing up the receipts so that I can see. But for 11.1, you've had a copy of the statements for all the accounts. Has anyone got any queries on what's on the accounts? No?
Can I have a proposal for 11.1?
Shall we accept them? Councillor Lane?
Seconder?
Councillor Inklevire?
All those in favour?
Thank you. So Councillor Levers, what date did you say these were on, sorry?
25th of May. It's just one example. I did write all the numbers, but I just wondered if it was that they paid 4 months or something.
Right, so when the accounts are done, if the administrator separates each hire by line, then it creates an independent entry once it's receipted. So, such as there's 4 lines for Frances Rayner on the 24th of May. That's because she's hired 4 different dates during that month, so it's created a line for every date that she's hired.
Okay,
So that's what that's there for.
then. Thank you.
And yeah, I see the theatre go ones. That's entry 139 to 141.
Yeah.
Again, that'll be with £72. That'll be 3 separate hires.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
That said, have I got a proposal for item 11? please?
Councillor Lane, thank you.
Seconder?
Councillor Buxton,
All those in favour?
thank you all. So the VAT update I sent you, the position is at the moment that there is a VAT submission due, but it's not due till August. However, at the moment, the calculation comes in at £15,507, so that will be submitted to the Inland Revenue requesting a refund of that amount.
Got a proposal for that? Item 11.3.
Councillor Lane,
Seconder?
Councillor Damon.
All those in favour?
Oh, yeah.
Lovely, thank you all. Councillor Inklevire is going to do the next one.
Councillor Inklevire.
Yeah, a 10% sample of payments was undertaken this morning by Councillors Buxton and Lane for the month of June. Thank you to both of them. This was satisfactory. This is a required task on a monthly basis as a matter of good governance and to satisfy an internal audit recommendation. When the Town Clerk returns in mid-August from her upcoming holiday, the next sample for July will need to be carried out. You may be asked if you are available to do this, or please volunteer in advance to the Town Clerk. It takes up to an hour and is a cross-check that a payment out corresponds with the initial documentation. It is undertaken in the council offices and you may be rewarded with a cup of coffee for your efforts. Thank you.
Where's mine?
Council were sent a copy of all the transactions that were checked today. Obviously, it was only done at 10 o'clock this morning, so I can understand if you don't want to do a proposal on it, but I believe Councillor Lane and Councillor Buxton, as Councillor Inkelvire said, is happy.
Can I ask
So.
for a proposal on 11.4?
Thank you.
Councillor Lane. Seconder.
Councillor Damond.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Item 11.5, insurance policy.
Right, so as councillors will be aware, this has gone backwards and forwards with the insurer. With what has happened over previous years, they were a little bit reluctant to reinsure. However, we have managed to negotiate with them, and they are offering a renewal rate over a 3-year period, which I believe brings stability to the council, with a fixed increase of 5% per year. So we would then be able to budget for that over the next 3 years, with the initial year starting at £18,408.56. So yeah, I'm looking for a proposal to accept that insurance.
With that, the motion, got proposal?
Yep. Councillor Lane.
Seconder.
I'm happy to.
Councillor Inkelvire.
All those in favour?
Councillor Diamond. Yep. All, thank you.
Move on then to item 12, to allocate the 6 market-based Downham Market renovations work.
So councillors would have received 3 quotes emailed across. There is one that is from an individual. I won't use names because obviously it's a tender process. It has tendered, including the stairs. We did not get a tender without the stairs. But we have noticed that it has missed out the sun tunnel in there. However, upon speaking with that contractor, that could go in for around £1,000, so that look for that to increase that amount by, with a potential start date at the end of August. But obviously we would need to have a look if council were minded to go with that, with what we've got for hirers, because we'd have to be aware of noise. Then you had a second one, which covered with and without the stairs, and you will have seen that breaks down very much in line with the tender document, line by line. Well, you've had them, so really it's up for you to discuss.
Anyone want to speak?
A bit worrying that there's 51,000 difference.
Yeah.
That's a high percentage. That's what, 47, 8% difference.
I'd be quite happy with the lowest quote, personally.
Yeah, that's just it's so different.
Well, if it's a big company and they've got overheads, you know.
I can't speak for. I mean, what I can tell you is that the second company are registered with Norfolk Trusted Trader, whereas the first one isn't. So there is some comfort in that.
Just an observation I made, you know.
Is this a fixed price contract?
Yes, that's the basis of the tender.
The first tender A has given an estimation.
Yeah, I spoke to, just so that you're aware, the emails that have gone out regarding dates went out both parties. I only had the response from from A. But regarding the fixed price, what he was saying is if he comes across something that he doesn't know, the figure is fixed for that work, but obviously he can't say that that would be the final price if he found that there was a hole in the roof and the previous job wasn't done to standard. So he is confirming that it is fixed price for what is on that schedule.
That would be the same for every contractor, to be honest with you.
We're obviously then going to need a contingency again, like we have on the town hall, etc.
We're going to need a contingency, Councillor Lever
Sorry.
says. And I do agree with that as well, because when I spoke to the architect last Friday when he popped in, he did say that there is a query regarding the firewall between number 6 and number 4. There is obviously a new buyer at number 4, and that needs to be discussed with them there because it is a shared party wall. But there is likely to be a slight increase there because I would imagine that they'll expect us to share the cost.
Anyone like to make a proposal?
I make a proposal of £8,000 for PC song.
For the contingency?
Yeah.
If that is needed, who do I require authorisation from?
I suggest 3 councillors and the clerk.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And which one of the tenders are you proposing goes with that?
And the lowest.
Okay, so A. Have we got a seconder?
Seconder for that.
Councillor Lewis.
Councillor Lewis. All those in favour of that?
Yeah.
Councillor Buxton.
Anyone against?
So Councillor Buxton, Councillor Marseille is against. Anybody else?
No, we're all in favour.
Yep.
Well,
Okay,
that's-
lovely. And Councillor
that's
Jordan's not
carried.
voting. Lovely, thank you.
Good. We move on then to item 13, allocate the town hall kitchen renovation work.
Again, you'll see the work that the Deputy Clerk has done on this. You'll be reminded that we had a successful seal application for 20,000 from Kings Lynn Borough Council, which we're grateful for. We don't have drawings for this because both companies required us to pay if we were going to have drawings. However, it is a basic kitchen upgrade, and the Deputy Clerk has sent out a list of what she was working against and what they're quoting against. And again, it's up to Council to debate the items.
I think the prices that are coming are rather high for what is possibly a basic kitchen in there, to be honest with you. And I think we should probably go out and either look again or do a bit of groundwork ourselves and go out and see if we can find some of this stainless steel stuff ourselves, where the council probably buys it itself and get it at probably a lot cheaper rate than what these people are getting it for, because they're obviously going to put a markup on it and that as well.
It's a very large space. The flooring is part of the problem as well, which has got to be done. So I think that's where a lot of the price is, the space and the flooring.
Any other Councillor Lewis?
From personal experience, anybody who's installing something, I agree with Councillor Lewis, but they always want to buy their own equipment. It would be very difficult to get hold of somebody to do the job and not buy the equipment that we want. It's a better way of doing it for cheaper, but installers always want to get their money on what they buy, equipment.
Not necessary.
Anybody else?
I agree with Councillor Lewis totally. I think the quote has gone out. 2 companies have replied. Similar. One is cheaper than the other, but very similar. I think we should go with that and get this work completed before the prices start to go up again.
Deputy Mayor.
Well, we as a council know one of the tenders because we've used him in the past. So I'd be quite happy to go with him and let him install everything.
Is that a proposal, sir?
That's my proposal.
Have we got a seconder for that?
Councillor Wiles.
All those in favour?
Which one are we doing? Sorry, which one are we voting on?
I'm assuming you're going with Stephen Seals builder.
Yeah.
It's not a tender, it's a quote, so
It's the
yeah.
lowest quote.
That's the one I said.
Is that the lowest quote?
No.
No.
But
It's not.
I've seen his work.
But he's done work for us at the JCC and it's been very good for several years.
I'd just say that the work he did at the JTC, we spent a lot of money putting it right after it was finished.
No.
I'm sorry, I can't propose. I think we should go for the cheaper one. It's not our money, it's taxpayers' money. I think we should go for the cheaper one.
Well, what I would suggest, we've got a proposal on the table. You vote that proposal and it either goes for or against, and then you can put another proposal on the table if you wish.
And I'll withdraw that proposal.
You want to withdraw it? Okay.
I'll withdraw it and you councillors decide.
Okay, then Councillor
My
Ingleby,
proposal is we go for the lower quote. it is
Got a
taxpayers' money.
proposal that we go for the lower quote. We've got a seconder.
Councillor Leach.
All those in favour? Any
Councillor
against?
Levers. Against.
Any against?
Councillor Lewis. Against. Councillor Jordan. And you're against. And you're in favour. So I've got 4 against: Councillor Lever, Councillor Lewis,
I'm
Councillor
against.
Jordan, Councillor Lane,
I'm against
and
as well.
Councillor Torbeck. So that passes. Thank you.
Can I ask one final question?
Of course.
Is there still money left over after the JCC roadway is completed? Could be used for the difference between the grant awarded and the actual cost? Is that something that may be considered?
I think there's still money is...
We're talking about the still money that's in the town council's pot. Property have spent around 16,000, so, and the pot's about 29,000, give or take. So yes, there is money that is available, which would save it coming out of the earmarked reserves if council is minded.
I'm sorry, but I wish to discuss that under section 18 with the SAMs. The remaining
It's a suggestion.
money.
It's only a suggestion.
So it wasn't proposed, it's a suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on then to item 14, to approve the town council maintenance tender document.
So property have recommended to full council the adjustments that were discussed on the 29th of June that council has seen in the minutes, plus I've clarified today just so that you've seen exactly what's going on. Again, it's open for council to debate.
The committee's recommended it to us, councillors, so we should accept the recommendation.
I was on the working party and we've tweaked and adjusted and recommended. So.
Have I got a proposal for that?
Yeah.
Councillor Lane.
Seconder.
Councillor Pyatt.
All those in favour?
Yep.
Any against?
Councillor Diamond. Against. Thank you.
Item 15, to discuss the white ribbon accreditation approval, December 2022.
Do you want to discuss councillor?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. The governance committee were asked to look at the becoming a white ribbon part of the accreditation scheme. We looked at accreditation, which was asked to go forward last year in December. We re-looked at the accreditation scheme, and it is for a small organisation such as ours, it is a very long process to go through. And it takes over 3 years, and we felt it was perhaps a step too far. But they have another scheme which they recommend for organisations with staff of under 200, which is called the Supporter Organisation. I prepared a paper which was circulated to you all. I hope you've all had a chance to read it.
Yeah.
The next stage, the Governance Committee felt it should come back to full council today and to decide whether this is something that the council wishes to take forward. There are conditions, these are their conditions, and the conditions are the cost would be £150, but if it's agreed, this is subject to recruiting at least one male volunteer to sign up as a White Ribbon ambassador as required by White Ribbon UK to progress the application. If there are no male councillors who can undertake this role, a woman can sign up as a champion. However, the Governance Committee noted that there are currently 11 male councillors representing the council, and recruitment to this role could hopefully be achieved tonight. It's now up to full council.
So just to clarify, in December you agreed to be a white ribbon accreditation. If you went down that path, the fee is nearly £1,000. So the supporter is obviously 150. So just for reflection.
I'd propose to be a supporter and I would volunteer myself to be the candidate.
Got a second for that?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
it's just a question about the fee. Is it for administration, or do we know what that fee, where that money, what they do with that money itself?
I think it's just part and parcel. They send you packs regarding fundraising. One of the things that we would sign up to is an event in November around White Ribbon Supporters Day, and I think they send you all their pamphlets, all their literature on how we would go about taking this on. And I think some of it goes to their charity as well.
Thank you.
Could I just ask a question, please?
Councillor Wills.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a personal view on this, being married to somebody that had the brains beaten out for 27 years and still wakes up with traumas and screaming. I don't know how I haven't been locked up, sleeping in hotels because of her screaming, but, you know, bullying's not good, beating women is just wrong. So, yeah, I support the scheme.
Councillor Leavers.
No.
Right. Can I got a proposal for this? Proposal. Second. All those in favour? Any against?
Councillor Brewer against. Anybody else against or abstaining? No, thank you.
That's carried. Thank you. Item 16, to commit to the Armed Forces Pledge.
So Council have previously committed to this pledge, and it's the annual renewal. So it's the Armed Forces Covenant is a promise from the nation to those who are serving in the armed forces and those who have previously served and their families that they will be treated fairly and not disadvantaged because of their service. I know Council were previously looking to get the bronze award for it. So that we actively engage with personnel during recruitment.
Can I propose that?
Of course you can.
I'd like to propose that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Marseille?
All those in favour?
Good.
All, thank you.
Thank you. Item 17, to discuss the Rural England Forest Prosperity Fund.
So this has been circulated. It went out in May, and obviously I was asked to hold off bringing it to the last agenda in June, so that you had time to think about whether there's anything you wish us to apply for in the office. The closing date is the 2nd of August. And we need to match fund with 25% just for awareness.
Anyone want to talk about it? Have we got a proposal for this then?
No ideas? No, leave that item then.
Leave that on. Item 18, to receive the send to post quote and agree actions.
Do you want to lead that, Councillor Leavers?
Leave it.
No, do you want to lead it?
Sorry, I'm not, as you know. Well, I don't know what you're going to say, to be honest. I know you sent us an email showing the prices of post. As I said in an email to all councillors today, we didn't actually include that in the application for the grant last December. We actually asked for a SAMS package, which, as you know, a councillor proposed that we didn't go over a certain amount as they were against it. And that means that we've got extra expenditure. Now, the reason why I put my hand up about the SIL fund was because 14,000, as the clerk said, has been given from the SIL fund by full council to construct a pathway from the Jubilee Community Centre to Rouse's Lane. 4 months ago, a grant was awarded for this SAMS machine. Tonight, we have the means to prevent accidents and possibly save lives by voting for the SAMS purchase and the additional cost of nearly £600 for the poles. These are calming measures, which is why I don't understand why some councils are against it. Speeding kills, we all know this. The data that the councillors all received that we downloaded from the SAMS machine has shown that motorists are significantly speeding in Downham, and one in particular stands out, 60 miles per hour at 8 p.m. in the evening. The cash, I hope, can be used from the SIL fund. As the clerk said, there is approximately 15,000 left. Our residents want us to listen to them and act upon their concerns. Tonight, I hope that the councils will make this decision after 4 months of the grant being awarded, and this decision will help them to cross the roads, walk to school, etc. more safely. So,
Councillor Will.
Borough Council originally said they'd buy the posts and that fit. I wonder if Claire would like to write them a letter and ask them why they don't support traffic calming that saves lives.
Just to clarify, I don't think the Borough Council ever promised the Sound Twos. Norfolk County Council Highways said they would look to see what they could do, but I don't believe the Borough Council have ever promised anything there.
Right.
But yeah, it's Norfolk County Council Highways that have said they won't fund it.
I do agree with Councillor Levers that there is a speeding issue in Downham, and this week alone I've had several residents of Bennett Street and other places that have come up to me and said they're concerned that in a 20-mile-per-hour zone they're getting people driving down there at 80, they're quite concerned about their pets and children and that kind of thing. And just generally, when you go about the town, you do see a lot of speeding, and I think calming measures are essential.
Just to clarify, and I'm not saying I'm against calming measures, but Sound 2s are not appropriate for 20-mile-an-hour zones. They can only be used for 30s.
Yeah. But just to example the speeding issue,
yeah.
not as a place for the Sound 2s.
Councillor Damon.
Did I not hear a certain borough councillor say had some funding available?
Sorry?
Councillor Damon is suggesting that maybe a borough council would be willing to use their community fund towards some of the sound post purchase.
A couple of things. Reference Councillor Leader's point about 60 miles an hour. We don't know whether that's emergency services. For a start. I'm not saying, I'm just saying it could be an ambulance, a fireman, police officers. What I will say is, I think some of the worst speeding is in the 20-mile-an-hour zones, and I don't know what we can do. I live on Sidbury Avenue, opposite the First Park, and I have actually stopped people and been abused outside my own home because they were speeding at a significant speed going around there. Now there's a lot of children walk to school via Sidbury, to Hillcrest School and to Downham Market Academy. I don't know what can be done, but I would like it to be noted that just because it's a 20-mile-an-hour zone, and I know you can't put a SAM there for the very reason, but what can we do? Because that's where a child or somebody's going to get knocked over and killed soon.
Well, you could do traffic calming measures.
Well, we've got speed bumps. They think it's funny to take off over them.
They've already got them.
Yeah.
Councillor.
I was approached by a resident, or two residents actually, and they were talking about a certain car that went down Wimsham Road. It was doing somewhere between 70 and 80 miles an hour. It's high-powered car, sequential gearbox, and they just think that's lovely to hear the turbo pop. And they go down there like a racetrack. And when she contacted the borough councillor, I won't mention the name, he wrote back to her and said, well, perhaps the residents ought to join together and have a protest on the road. And I thought to myself, what planet does this person live on? You know, it needs to stop. We need to encourage it to stop. There's children across that road quite close to me, and I've been to the school and said to the head, can you contact the parents of that child? They need to be a lot more careful crossing the road because they're just going to get slaughtered.
Councillor Levers.
just one more thing. I used the 60 miles per hour as an example, but councillors will have known if they looked at the data that I think it was something like 37% of cars that were caught on those SAMs were speeding. They were all doing over 30.
Wimbersham Road seems to be mentioned a lot. You've mentioned one car. Most of us who live down there abide by the speed limit. I don't know why it keeps getting mentioned.
I've been driving this truck for 16 years.
Yeah.
I estimate speed well, and these cars are doing well over the 30. There's, I would imagine, an estimate of 30 or 40% are over the 30 miles an hour. 30 miles an hour, when you sit there, looks fast.
Well, the road
These are well over that limit by the gears they're doing and the revs they're using when they go by.
The road that you want a SAM to opposite, which is my road, there's usually a large angular water van part there, so you can't speed down that bit anyway.
No.
I would just say I live along Wimbledon Road as well, and I'm finding that the cars are starting at the top, so at Kingfisher Road, so by the time they come to me, so I'm opposite Kestrel Avenue, it's a straight piece of road, it's quite a wide piece of road, and it's slightly undulating, so it's very enticing if you've got a bit of power under your right foot, and they do put their foot down. So by the time they get to my house, they're well in excess of 30 miles an hour. You know, I've got a daughter that she crosses every day to go to school. I've got a cat, elderly people all around me. It's you know, something needs to be done. Further up.
I agree.
Yeah. Bottom, yeah.
Deputy Mayor.
Just an observation, I live on Bexwell Road, as you all know, and I often stand somewhere watching the 30-mile-an-hour sign. That flashes on more than it flashes off. So I don't think any sign will stop them speeding. What we need is a speed watch system in Downham Market, which Councillor Bullen has offered to help myself to get it together. I do not think SAM 2 is any good now because they've got used to them being there. And I think we need to change a system of some sort. And the police will not come out on one promise.
The police came out on one observation and they visited the person that was speeding. And I know what you're saying, and it is drivers need educating, and they will not abide by speed limits. But there's a certain amount that do see that flash and they do immediately lift. If they only lift by 10 miles an hour, that perhaps save a life.
Yeah, that's what it does, yeah.
We as a council are aware we should do as much as we can, but we cannot stop them by signage alone. The information, it must be downloaded on a regular basis, it must be constantly given to the police, and the pressure must be kept on. If they then choose to do absolutely nothing, our hands are tied. What do we do then? Do they wait until a serious incident occurs? But we can only do so much. The pressure has to be applied by the authority who takes the enforcement action, namely the police. And they are choosing, by default or whatever, not to do anything. We are very limited in what we can do. So we can put up as many of these as we like, but if the public then choose to ignore them, what do we then do? I think we have to have a reality check here. I think we do. I think it's wonderful that we're doing this, but we can't do it in isolation. We have to make sure that they then do their part, the police.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I asked the police to do a check on Haldale Road because they're using it as a rat run to try to avoid the lights. They put a speed trap on there one morning. They caught 7 cars that were uninsured and speeding. And I said, good, that was good. 7 in one morning. Can you do it tomorrow? No. And that was the only time that they've ever done it. But for a little while, it slowed everybody down. Now, if Councillor Bullen can get us some people there to, standing with cameras and that would be more of a deterrent than trying to put SAMs up. Apart from anything else, I haven't heard mentioned how many posts we're going to put up. When we had the SAMs originally, there were 13 places in Downham that the SAMs could go. How many places have we got? How many poles have we got?
So for this new SAM 2, you have to have 3 new sites, and the new approved sites are Lawn Ditch Road in Wimbocham, Brother Crossway, Wimbocham, Willow Road, Wimbocham. So we would need 3 new posts. Highways have confirmed at the moment the postings that we've got are acceptable unless we are informed otherwise by Amy's. We have not been informed otherwise at present. Just for clarity for the public, the three quotes at the moment are 563 plus VAT, 583 plus VAT and 600 plus VAT is what we've got in for installing those three posts.
But if we get Amy's makers take those off the lamp post, which is what's been threatened, what are you going to do then? Just have 3 sites?
That would be for council to decide.
Well, 3 sites is not enough.
I find this all very negative. We're quite prepared to spend 14,000 on a road that's not going to save lives, that's going from a grass field onto Rouse's Lane, but we're not prepared to spend the money that we've made, been awarded from the highways, from the partnership scheme. We're not going to use that, and we're not going to try and save lives. It's too negative for me, I'm afraid. Very disappointed.
And we've all got our own views.
Yeah. I agree completely.
I would like to now to make someone make a proposal and we decide what we're going to do.
I'm just going to ask a question. Sorry.
Have we got a proposal?
Yeah. We buy one SAM.
We've got the proposal to buy the SAM. I just can't buy the SAM without the post.
It's
so
the post
this is the
we're
bit
talking
we're
about.
talking about. Yeah.
Well, may I?
You won't be able to get the seal money from the borough just for that because it's a minimum of 2,000 for a seal application.
From
so
the
we have
fund.
got seal money of our own in our own pot that could be used if council were minded to do that, or as I can't remember who said it, it could be used from the reserves anyway. And the cheapest quote, as I say, if you go with that, is 563 plus VAT, the VAT we recover.
Councillor Levers, you want to speak?
I propose that we do that. We take the £600 nearly out of the SIL fund to buy the posts, the 3 posts.
That's what the proposal is. Are you happy to second that, Councillor Wiles? It's just been adjusted.
Councillor Brewer wants to speak.
Can I just ask a question? You're saying these 3 posts are all going to be on along Wimbitsham Road?
Yes.
Within a few hundred yards of each other? So what, will the machine get moved?
Yes, every 4 weeks.
And this is just one round. We can't then move the post to another. Sorry.
No.
The post is
You can move around the other sites. It's just you can only put it on a site for 28 days.
At the moment we've got 13 sites we can use.
Right.
Whether we can use them to infinity, we don't know. But if we...
But every time you get a SAM2 purchase, you must get an additional 3 sites approved. And they're the 3 sites that have been requested.
And just to clarify, the information will be downloaded regularly and sent to the police regularly, so we can perhaps deal with this?
Councillor Incaveya, you asked that last time, whether Councillor Wiles and myself would do it, and we said yes, and we are doing it. And I got the contact, as you saw in the email, I got the contact from the police. They're very, very pleased that we're having one, and they're looking forward to reading the statistics. And I haven't had an email from the clerk to say whether she's passed it on.
I have forwarded it on
you
to the
have.
police.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you. I probably did ask that. I forgot.
We've got a proposal. We've got a seconder that we buy.
We use the SEAL fund, our SEAL fund, to spend up to £600. I'm assuming I can go with the one I want to, Councillor Levers. Is that okay?
So
yeah,
we've got
don't mind.
a proposer and a
Councillor
seconder.
Wiles is seconding, yeah.
All those in favour?
Fine.
Right, so Councillor Pyatt? What
Against.
Against.
Those against?
Councillor Lane. And Councillor Jordan, you can't vote anyway. No, that's fine. Thank you, so
Well,
that's
that's
passed.
carried.
Thank
Can
you.
I just make
Thank
an
you.
observation, Mr Mayor? We have 2 SAM2s stuck in the office. Why are we not using them?
At the moment, we only have one maintenance officer, and that maintenance officer cannot lift on their own safely. So until we have
Until we get
sufficient,
another one, we can't lift it.
unless councillors are going to take that role on.
I would if I could lift it.
Right. We move on then to item 19, receive an update on staff recruitment.
Councillor Marseille, do you want to do it or do you want me to do it?
I'm quite happy for you to do it, Claire. You've got the information in front of you.
Okay, I'm pleased to confirm that HR met prior to this meeting. They have selected a candidate. I will not announce the name at this meeting because it is subject to an enhanced DBS, references and a medical certificate. But we hope that they will be starting by the 1st of September. And I will keep council updated.
Male or female?
I can't tell you that at the moment. I'd rather keep the identity completely anonymous.
Well, as long as they know it's
Well, it's
all right,
irrelevant
yeah.
whether they're male or female anyway, so...
No, can't have to.
Yeah.
Due process was followed, and out of the 6 people that applied, there were 3 selected for interview based on their skill set. 1 was unable to make the interview, and it was remaining candidate A, candidate B. And the interviews were taking place with the town clerk and 2 other councillors present, one of which was myself as HR chair. So due process was followed, and it has been accepted that that was the best candidate, candidate A.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 20, submit items for the next agenda.
We had an email from the town clerk with an attachment from the parish partnership scheme, and we were told that it would go on the July 2023 full council agenda. It wasn't on this agenda. I would request that it's on the next full council meeting, and I'm sure the town clerk can confirm the next meeting date.
Yeah, it's already drafted on there for September. I chose not to put it on there because the agenda looked heavy enough already, and the deadline isn't till December. And I'm on holiday for 3 weeks, so the work wouldn't have happened anyway.
Thank you. December the 8th, yes.
Seeing as the next full council meeting is in September, do you think we ought to start discussing the recording of the full council at this meeting?
Yeah, we can do.
Any other items? You can, of course, submit. Right. To confirm the date of the next full council meeting.
So it'll be Tuesday the 19th of September at 7 p.m. here in the town hall.
Okay? And if you no further business, I'll close the meeting.
Thank you.